When making contact with a new intelligent species, it was a rule that an ambassador from each species in the Galactic Coalition GC had to be present. The GC and humanity clearly remembered their first contact. When alien races arrived with a large fleet, humans thought they were there to invade. However, the aliens sent a scared message begging to be spared from humanity's nuclear weapons, which they thought were real due to human movies. This moment was significant, and humans still enjoyed re-watching it. Today, humans were just another seat in the GC. They were known as one of the most dangerous species, but now this just meant higher insurance rates for ships with humans on board. Despite this, human strength, resilience, and creativity often made them valuable. Still, having a human ambassador on first contact missions was debated. The goal was to show that the GC was friendly, not a threat. Putting a human on these missions was like putting a gun in their hand, even if the gun wasn't loaded. Because of their appearance and abilities, humans seemed very threatening to new species. Ambassador Julian Rushford spent every first contact mission trying to appear as harmless as possible. However, this often made new species think of him as a stalking predator. The best way to assure new species was for Julian to stay on the ship until the other ambassadors had introduced the GC. Then they would introduce the human ambassador from a safe distance. On the latest mission, Julian was waiting on the ship while the other ambassadors worked. He didn't have to wait long before the ambassadors returned in a hurry, looking scared. Valak, the Wimu ambassador, was in a panic. They had found a new species that looked terrifying even to humans. Julian couldn't believe it. If humans were like space orcs, what were these new creatures? When he saw the visualizer, he smiled. He decided to go out and meet them. Julian walked to the conference tent, excited to see the new species. They looked like dragons from human stories. Julian introduced himself, and the new species seemed surprised that he wasn't scared. Julian explained that humans had stories about creatures like them, called dragons. The meeting was a success, and the new species, called dragons by the GC, became friends with humans. After this, humans were no longer questioned as necessary for first contact missions. Julian's job was challenging, but he loved it. On another mission, Julian and the dragon ambassador Threlia waited on the ship while the other ambassadors met a new species called the Hokleo. Julian and Threlia were ready to help if needed. Julian and Threlia had barely returned to the ship when the alarm sounded. The GC had received a distress signal from a nearby planet. Without hesitation, they set course for the planet, ready for another first contact mission. This time, Julian and Threlia were determined to be more cautious. As they approached the planet, the tension in the ship was palpable. Julian couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. When they landed, Julian and Threlia stayed back while the other ambassadors went ahead. The planet's dense jungle made it difficult to see anything beyond a few feet. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook, and they heard the other ambassadors calling for help. Julian and Threlia rushed forward and found them surrounded by the native species, the Trekker, who were clearly agitated. Julian stepped forward, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. The Trekker leader approached, eyeing Julian warily. With Threlia at his side, Julian spoke calmly, explaining that they came in peace and were part of a larger coalition of species. The Trekker leader listened but remained suspicious. Threlia then shared stories of how her species, the dragons, had initially feared humans but had grown to trust and respect them. This seemed to resonate with the Trekker. Slowly, the tension eased. The Trekker leader lowered his weapon, and the other Trekker followed suit. Julian and Threlia spent the next few hours talking with the Trekker, learning about their culture and way of life. They discovered that the Trekker were fiercely protective of their territory and had mistaken the GC's landing as an invasion. By the time they returned to the ship, the atmosphere had shifted. The Trekker had agreed to join the GC, and the ambassadors were safe. Julian felt a sense of relief wash over him. They had managed to avoid another disaster, thanks to the trust and cooperation between him and Threlia. As they prepared to leave, the Trekker leader approached Julian and Threlia, thanking them for their understanding and patience. Julian couldn't help but smile. This mission had been a success, and it reinforced the importance of having human ambassadors on these missions. Their bravery, strength, and ability to connect with others, even in the face of danger, made them invaluable. The journey back to the GC headquarters was filled with a sense of accomplishment. The other ambassadors praised Julian and Threlia for their quick thinking and bravery. Julian knew that there would be more challenges ahead, but he felt confident that, together with his fellow ambassadors, they could handle whatever came their way. From that day on, the GC never questioned the necessity of human ambassadors. Julian's reputation grew, and he became a symbol of courage and resilience. The story of Julian and Threlia's bravery spread throughout the galaxy, inspiring others to embrace cooperation and understanding in the face of fear and uncertainty. The bonds forged during these first contact missions strengthened the GC, making it a more united and powerful force in the universe. The next few missions were proof of the strong bonds forged through the GC. Julian and Threlia's partnership became a model for other ambassadors. They encountered various species, each with unique challenges and cultures. One mission took them to a planet inhabited by the Dronai, a highly intelligent insect-like species with a complex social structure. The Dronai were wary of outsiders, but Julian's patience and Threlia's understanding helped bridge the gap. Over time, they gained the trust of the Dronai, who eventually joined the GC, adding their knowledge and skills to the coalition. On another mission, they met the Lumora, a species with the ability to manipulate light. The Lumora were initially distrustful, having been isolated for centuries. Julian's calm demeanor and Threlia's stories of her own species' journey to trust humans helped the Lumora see the benefits of joining the GC. Their unique abilities in technology and communication became invaluable to the coalition. Despite these successes, not every mission was smooth. During a visit to the planet Arcanis, home to the massive and strong Arcanians, Julian faced a serious test. The Arcanians, proud of their strength, challenged Julian to prove human resilience. Threlia, recognizing the potential danger, supported Julian in showing that strength could be complemented by diplomacy and intelligence. After a tense negotiation and a display of mutual respect, the Arcanians agreed to join the GC. As the missions continued, Julian and Threlia grew closer, not just as colleagues but as friends. Their bond was a testament to the unity that the GC aimed to achieve among diverse species. They learned from each other's strengths and weaknesses, fostering an environment where differences were celebrated and cooperation was paramount. One of the most memorable missions was their encounter with the mysterious Tari. The Tari were a nomadic species, traveling through space in colossal ships. They had little interest in joining the GC, preferring their independence. However, a crisis forced them to seek help. A catastrophic engine failure left one of their ships stranded. Julian and Threlia, along with a team of GC engineers, rushed to assist. The successful rescue operation demonstrated the benefits of unity and cooperation. While the Tari didn't join the GC immediately, their perception of the coalition changed, opening the door for future collaboration. Julian's reputation as a symbol of courage and resilience continued to grow. His ability to face fear and uncertainty inspired many within the GC and beyond. Threlia's grace and wisdom were equally revered, making her a beloved figure among the ambassadors. Together, they embodied the spirit of the GC diverse species working together towards a common goal. Back at GC headquarters, their stories became part of training programs for new ambassadors. Julian and Threlia often found themselves mentoring newcomers, sharing their experiences and lessons learned. They emphasized the importance of empathy, patience, and the willingness to understand others. Their guidance helped shape the next generation of ambassadors, ensuring that the principles of the GC would endure. In time, the GC grew stronger and more unified. The collaborative efforts of its members led to advancements in technology, medicine, and interstellar relations. New member species brought fresh perspectives and innovations, enriching the coalition. The shared knowledge and mutual respect among the diverse species of the GC created a powerful alliance capable of addressing any challenge. Julian and Threlia's legacy lived on through the countless lives they touched and the lasting impact of their missions. Their journey was a testament to the power of cooperation and the belief that, despite differences, unity could be achieved. The Galactic Coalition, once a fragile alliance, had become a beacon of hope and strength in the universe, thanks to the bravery and dedication of ambassadors like Julian and Threlia. The Galactic Coalition continued to thrive, with Julian and Threlia's leadership serving as a shining example of the power of cooperation. Their journey wasn't without its hurdles, but each challenge only strengthened their resolve and the unity of the GC. As more species joined the coalition, they brought with them new technologies, cultural insights, and a shared commitment to peace and progress. One of the final and most significant missions Julian and Threlia embarked on was a visit to the distant planet of Vter. The Valtorians were known for their advanced biotechnology and their deep connection with their environment. However, their planet was facing a dire ecological crisis, and they were hesitant to accept help from outsiders. Julian and Threlia knew this mission would require all their skills in diplomacy and empathy. Upon arriving on Vter, Julian and Threlia were greeted with suspicion. The Valtorians, tall and elegant beings with shimmering blue skin, were wary of the GC's intentions. Julian began by sharing stories of Earth's own ecological challenges and how humanity had overcome them through cooperation and innovation. Threlia spoke of the dragon's ancient wisdom in maintaining balance with nature. Slowly, the Valtorians began to open up. They shared the details of their crisis, revealing that their planet's core was unstable, threatening all life on Vter. Julian and Threlia, with the help of GC scientists, devised a plan to stabilize the core using a combination of Valtorian biotechnology and GC technology. The project was risky and required precise coordination. For weeks, the combined teams of Valtorians and GC members worked tirelessly. Julian and Threlia were at the forefront, coordinating efforts and ensuring that both sides worked seamlessly together. There were moments of tension and setbacks, but the determination of the coalition never wavered. Finally, the day came to implement their solution. As the core stabilization process began, the ground trembled and the air was thick with anticipation. Julian and Threlia stood side by side, watching as the technology they had developed was put to the test. The process was arduous, and at times it seemed like they might fail. But through perseverance and the unyielding spirit of collaboration, the core began to stabilize. When the process was complete, the planet calmed, and the Valtorians realized that they had averted a catastrophe. The gratitude they expressed was profound. For the first time in ages, the Valtorians saw a future for their planet, one where they were not alone but part of a greater interstellar community. With the Valtorians now enthusiastic members of the GC, Julian and Threlia returned to headquarters to a hero's welcome. The successful mission on Vter was celebrated as a testament to the GC's ideals and the power of unity. Julian and Threlia were commended for their unwavering dedication and exceptional leadership. Years passed, and the GC continued to grow and prosper. Julian and Threlia, now seasoned veterans, continued to mentor new ambassadors, passing on their knowledge and experience. Their stories became legendary, inspiring countless others to strive for peace and cooperation. In the twilight of their careers, Julian and Threlia reflected on their journey. They had seen the GC transform from a fledgling alliance into a formidable force for good in the universe. They had made lifelong friends and allies, faced incredible dangers, and overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. Through it all, they had held firm to the belief that unity and understanding could bridge any divide. As they stood on the balcony of the GC headquarters, looking out at the stars, Julian turned to Threlia. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Threlia nodded, her eyes gleaming with pride. "Indeed we have, Julian. Together, we've shown that the strength of the GC lies in its diversity and unity." Julian smiled. "And as long as we continue to work together, there's nothing we can't achieve." With that, they turned back to the stars, ready to face whatever new adventures awaited them, knowing that the bonds they had forged and the legacy they had built would endure for generations to come. The story of Julian and Threlia and the Galactic Coalition would be remembered as a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of unity in the vast expanse of the universe. Julian and Threlia's retirement marked the end of an era, but their legacy continued to inspire. The Galactic Coalition honored them with a grand ceremony celebrating their contributions to peace and unity. Their stories became part of the GC's official history, taught to new ambassadors as examples of courage, resilience, and the power of collaboration. As Julian and Threlia settled into their new roles as advisors, the GC continued to face challenges, but each was met with the principles they had championed. The coalition's growth brought new perspectives and innovations, fostering an environment where different species learned from each other and worked towards common goals. One day, a new threat emerged from the fringes of known space. A mysterious and aggressive species, the Zarnak, began encroaching on GC territory. The Zarnak were technologically advanced and showed no interest in diplomacy. The GC had never faced an enemy like this before, and the threat of war loomed large. The GC Council convened an emergency session, seeking a solution. Despite their retirement, Julian and Threlia were called upon for their wisdom and experience. The Council believed that their unique understanding of diplomacy and conflict resolution could be crucial in averting a war. Julian and Threlia analyzed the situation carefully. They knew that a direct confrontation could lead to devastating losses on both sides. Instead, they proposed a bold plan, a mission to the heart of Zarnak territory to establish communication and seek a peaceful resolution. With the Council's approval, Julian and Threlia assembled a team of seasoned ambassadors, scientists, and security personnel. The mission was fraught with danger, but they believed it was the best chance to prevent a catastrophic war. They embarked on their journey, prepared for whatever lay ahead. As they approached Zarnak space, tensions were high. The Zarnak ships shadowed them closely, their intentions unclear. Julian and Threlia transmitted a message of peace, explaining their mission and requesting a meeting with the Zarnak leadership. For days, there was no response, and the team prepared for the worst. Then, unexpectedly, they received a reply. The Zarnak leader, Supreme Commander Vrax, agreed to meet. Julian and Threlia, accompanied by their team, were escorted to the Zarnak flagship. The atmosphere was tense as they entered the massive vessel, but Julian and Threlia remained composed, their years of experience guiding them. Supreme Commander Vrax was a formidable figure, his presence commanding respect. Julian began by acknowledging the Zarnak's strength and expressing the GC's desire for peaceful coexistence. Threlia spoke of the potential for mutual benefit through collaboration, sharing stories of how other species had thrived by working together. Vrax listened intently, his expression unreadable. When they finished, he spoke of the Zarnak's long history of conflict and their mistrust of outsiders. Julian and Threlia responded with empathy, understanding the Zarnak's perspective and addressing their concerns with sincerity. Hours turned into days as the negotiations continued. Slowly, the walls of mistrust began to crumble. Julian and Threlia's persistence and genuine desire for peace resonated with Vrax. He saw the potential for a future where the Zarnak could be part of a greater community without losing their identity. In a historic agreement, the Zarnak agreed to a ceasefire and exploratory talks with the GC. The mission was a success, and Julian and Threlia's efforts had averted a war. They returned to the GC headquarters as heroes once again, their legacy further solidified. The peace with the Zarnak opened new possibilities for the GC. The coalition expanded its influence, bringing even more species into the fold. Julian and Threlia's dream of a united galaxy was closer than ever. As they finally retired to a quiet life, they knew their work had made a lasting impact. The Galactic Coalition, stronger and more united, continued to uphold the values they had championed. The universe remembered Julian and Threlia as pioneers of peace, their story a beacon of hope and a testament to the enduring power of unity. In the end, Julian and Threlia's journey came full circle. They had faced incredible challenges and forged unbreakable bonds, leaving behind a legacy that would inspire generations. Their names became synonymous with courage, diplomacy, and the belief that, together, we can overcome any obstacle. The stars shone brighter with the promise of a united galaxy, forever guided by the principles they held dear. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. For every comment that says we will heart every single one of them, thank you for your time.